Today we're going to talk about the second part of the beginning of World War One, and we're going to get into where America actually gets to declare war. So let's start off with where we're at so far from when we left off the other day. So on the Allied side, okay, so you have the Triple Entente. So remember, Serbia and Austria-Hungary started this off because the Serbians are blamed for the assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Okay, and so they declared war on each other. When they declared war on each other, that's going to bring Russia in because they're big brother for Serbia. Germany being big brother for Austria-Hungary, they come in, and then Italy's going to come in because they're part of the Triple Alliance. And then when Russia comes in, so does France, and then Britain comes in when Germany invades Belgium. Okay, remember that was the Schlieffen plan where they tried to encircle Paris, but they get stopped, okay? But they still go into Belgium, and so they get mad about that. The Ottoman Empire joins in on this side, and then Bulgaria joined in because Russia invaded their territory to get down to Serbia. Remember, Italy switches sides, and then Australia joins in because they're Dominion of Britain, and then Japan joins in because there's fighting going on in Asia that we're not really going to talk about. It doesn't concern us quite as much. But Japan is going to join in the Allied side because they have interests in Asia. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So this is where we're at right now. You saw the Allies, you saw the Central Powers are still in it. Okay, so America declares war. So Wilson was determined to remain neutral throughout this whole thing, but a lot of Americans supported one side or another. There was no real like bad guy. Like in World War II, it was very obvious that Hitler was the bad guy. Okay, that he was doing really terrible things, and eventually we're at the end of the war we'll actually learn about even more of the atrocities like the Holocaust and that, but there's no clear good bad guy in this whole thing. It's just kind of political stuff that's going on that people don't like each other. So in general, people favored the Allies because we had closer ties with France and Britain than we did with Germany and Italy, but some German and Irish Americans did favor the Central Powers. Wilson's cabinet and many military leaders wanted to support Britain, and British officials really kind of helped that out with propaganda. Highlight that. I didn't realize I didn't make that red, but that's going to be a word you're going to need to know. So propaganda is information that's designed to influence opinion. So what they did is they cut the telegraph cable that went into the U.S., so there's a telegraph cable, the transatlantic telegraph cable that went across from Europe into the United States, and that's how we got news from Europe. And so what ended up happening is the British cut it, and then by doing that, they were able to control all of the information going into the United States. So both sides are going to try to use this propaganda, but German propaganda was really anti-Russian, and we didn't really care about that, okay? But the British propaganda is going to describe specifically really bad German atrocities. Now, a lot of these are going to be made up. They're going to be total lies and things like that, but it's going to make them seem like they're the bad guys. So American business interests lean toward the Allies, and this is going to be the real reason why we joined in the war. But East Coast businesses had strong ties to France and Great Britain, and so the banks are going to loan the Allies money, over $2 billion. Okay, so all loan approval went through our Secretary of the Treasury, William McAdoo, and so Germany didn't get any loans from us because he would only loan to the Allies. And so because of this, because we only loan to one side, our prosperity is really going to hinge on an Allied victory. So it's really going to matter who wins because we need them to have enough money to pay us back. So a series of events is going to draw us into the war. So first off, the U.S. was providing Allies with food and supplies, and in order to stop these shipments, Germany would use U-boats or submarines. U-boat means Untersee boats, but they're submarines, and they would sink any ship that wasn't part of their side. Okay, so it wasn't German, any non-German ship. So they announced that they would. This is called unrestricted warfare. So they announced that they would do this, and anybody found in the waters around Britain that didn't have that were not German, they said we're going to sink you. Okay, so on May 7th, 1915, a British passenger ship, the Lusitania, will enter British waters. It had 1,200 passengers on it, including 128 Americans, and they're going to a U-boat is going to sink it. And so many Americans saw this as a terrorist attack, and Wilson is going to issue a warning. So March of 1916, once again, another ship is going to be sunk, the Sussex, and then Wilson's going to issue another warning. So this is going to lead to what's called the Sussex Pledge, and basically Germany is going to promise to not sink any U.S. ships anymore. So they're going to say we're not going to sink any non-military ships, so any merchant ships, any passenger ships without warning. Okay, so they'll at least warn them first, and then they'll sink them. So this right here is showing you where all that's taken place. Okay, so this is basically the territory of the unrestricted submarine warfare in this area here. The Lusitania is going to get sunk right off the coast of Ireland. Okay, so right about there. And that's really going to be one of the bigger events that's going to lead us into war. So Wilson's going to win the election of 1916 with the slogan, "He kept us out of war." So that's kind of his platform, is that he doesn't want to join in with a European war, because why would we? We're way over here. So January of 1917, however, a German official, Arthur Zimmermann, is going to send a telegram to the German ambassador to Mexico. And he's going to make an offer. And he's basically going to say if Mexico agrees to become an ally of the Central Powers, then Germany promises that they can take Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona back. Okay, so the British intelligence are going to intercept what's going to be called as the Zimmermann telegram. Sometimes you'll hear it as a Zimmermann note, okay, but the Zimmermann telegram, and then they're going to publish it in our newspaper. So Germany is promising to give away our stuff if Mexico joins the war. And so this is really going to tick off a lot of Americans, and this is going to lead us to war. So February 1st, 1917, Germany says we're going to resume unrestricted submarine warfare. They sink 6 U.S. ships, and then April 2nd, 1917, we officially declare war on Germany, and we join in the war. So this is where we're at now. Okay, so pretty much everybody that's on there, but now we have the United States has joined in on the ally side. Okay, so that's where we're at. I hope you all have a good day. Don't forget to do your process.